An excerpt from the Mark and the Market Forward Part 2. The enslaved Africans were used and are still used due 1 to scriptural assertions on Og, Nimrod, Ham, Canaan, Mizraim, Put, and Cush. These 7 names, nations, and more specifically peoples are used as the counterweight of Mazzaroth, also known as the Pleiades or the 7 sisters. That is, for each member of the Mazzaroth to remain balanced, the 7 brothers must be used. The 7 sisters and 7 brothers may be considered to be those who lead the dance of the spheres. Thus, a symbolic union of the 7 sisters with the 7 brothers is fundamentally associated with the stock markets, which are in turn associated with the cosmological construct, thus creating a perpetual cycle of regression and oppression of those whose blood were used as per oaths, sacrifices, and rites. Another aspect of the stock market is the mechanizations of laws to either start, speed up, and stop its cyclical structure. To explain clearly, in recent years, numerous graffiti of gear mechanisms are seen painted on public places. These gear mechanisms are used to indicate areas where specific investments are to be initiated or finances are to be rescinded. Based on the alignments of these gear mechanisms displayed publicly, the area's development or denigration may be determined. The alignment of the gears are meant to indicate the alignment of astrological bodies within the cosmos. Furthermore, based on recent laws and market trends, one may deduce what is being openly conveyed. First, the law established in the late 1990s that made corporations persons. That is, the law which openly acknowledges that corporations are in fact associated with persons, which indicates that persons are being used spiritually to established companies, etc. The second example is of the economic trend in the year 2025, whereas the price of eggs was conveyed all over the world through the stock market as an item of concern. This egg price issue is detailing that the egg of a person is highly priced, and that the need to lower the price is in fact a need to reduce the cost of a singular person. To be precise, costs are reduced when supply is high. Thus, by creating an oversupply of an item, the price for that object decreases. What followed the declaration of egg prices being too high is the mass unemployment and firing of persons within specific sectors. By creating large unemployment, there is a large increase in labor available. By having a large increase of labor available, the price for labor decreases. That is, businesses have many options, thus the high salary that some require is supplanted by low salary offers. Those who accept the low salary offers reduce the need for high salary employees. To be clear, in the previous paragraphs, the bear and her cubs were considered, thus the eggs being discussed are equivalent to the cubs of the bear. The offsprings of people are too costly, thus a market mechanism was initiated to reduce the costs of the offsprings of people. This hides both black market and free market issues. The black market issue is rather obvious, children being trafficked and sold, along with the eggs of the fertile being sold through IVF schemes or surrogacy schemes. The free market issue is less obvious. The increase in the unemployed means that people will agree to a decrease in salary. The decrease in salary will create a decrease in planned families and an increase in unplanned families, which will create 1. Less people having children due to fear of economic instability, and 2. More children born that are unwanted. This leads to the third law created in the last years or so, which is a denial to birth control and abortions in America. Coupled with the increase in unemployment, the decrease in household income, the increase in more people at home, as extant at leisure, there will be an increase in unplanned pregnancies. The increase in unplanned pregnancies and the denial of abortion rights increase birth of unwanted children. The increase in unwanted children will decrease the price of children in the black markets of trafficking and will increase adoptions, kidnappings, and human trafficking. The decrease in employment will also encourage women to sell their wombs as per surrogacy schemes, and thus a decrease in the price of their eggs. Thus, the simple market trend of high egg prices speaks to those running the hidden black markets of human trafficking. It also speaks to those families who are aware of the nomenclatural nuances, that more women will be acceptable to surrogacy, i.e. selling their wombs, and in some cases the selling of their bodies. Thus, the trend of the costs of eggs is declaring that the black market price of humans being trafficked, manipulated into making life and reputation damaging decisions based on poverty, will be decreased by economic policy. That is, 1. Certain activities will be made legal. 2. The punishment for certain crimes will be lenient. And 3. There will be an increase in eggs, that is, human wombs and bodies available on the market, thus the price will decrease over time. Thus, from 3 simple laws and/or trends, an entire black market mechanism is planned, conveyed, and initiated. 1. Companies being declared legal persons. 2. Increased unemployment due to mass layoffs. 3. Abortion rights rescinded. 4. Landlords having more rights than tenants, for example, in Canada. Coupled with enormous layoffs and the ensuing unemployment, the decrease in tenants' rights will leave numerous people homeless, and the homeless will have very few options for financial stability. Thus, encouraging homeless people to sleep where a bed is offered, which means people will agree to date those with apartments, etc., which also leads to an increase in unplanned pregnancies, and therefore an increase in children available in the black markets of human trafficking. These examples are simply to show that there is a recognized pattern to laws being written and established, and these laws have a purpose that is generally unnoted, unseen, and mostly beneficial to the criminal black market industries of slavery and human trafficking. This brings to the fore the words or phrase black market, which is in itself a code for 1. The selling, purchasing, and trafficking of black, i.e. African-descended persons. A code for 2. The marketing, selling, and promoting of spiritually black constructs. Thus, while the word is at the surface indicative of crimes, at the core it is indicative of the remnant of the transatlantic slave market that is still present in modern society, involved in the selling of predominantly black, women, children, and men. Therefore, the nuances of nomenclature are hidden for the most part, and yet are openly discussed in stock markets, implemented through company policies, and regulated through laws. The recent high price of eggs was followed by specific economic policies, and it was foreshadowed by an increase in social discussions on human trafficking, victims being rescued, parents and citizens being more vigilant, etc. That is, an increase in social discussions on the rise and evils of human trafficking means that the price or costs of human trafficking increased. The costs of hiding, transporting, and maintaining secrecy brides, extortions, increases as more citizens become aware of the tragedy of the human trafficking market. Because there are more chances of being discovered, as well as an increased probability of rescue of trafficked victims, the costs to maintain the industry increases, along with the cost of acquiring victims of trafficking. The costs associated with the human trafficking industry correlates to the advertised increase in cost of eggs. Foreshadowing of society, increased discussions around human trafficking, etc., and what followed in society, the policy designed to decrease the stock market price of eggs, suggest that while both scenarios appear unrelated. However, the media clamor and parroting of one specific market item, i.e. a repetitive discussion on the price of eggs, along with a predominant narrative on human trafficking victims, etc., suggest that both discourses are at the core related or synonymous with each other. This assertion is not far-fetched or a paranoid perspective. It follows from 1. The history of the Wall Street stock market being a remnant of, and the formed from the Wall Street auction blocks of the transatlantic slave trade. It follows from 2. Stock market concepts as per words and phrases, bull and bear markets. It also follows from 3. The socioeconomic construct of condition and conditioning, i.e. the market conditions determine the stock fluctuations, and the condition of the mother determines the condition of her offspring, enslaved or free. It follows from 4. Scriptural correlation of the bear and bull to the Mazzaroth Pleiades and Bashan Astaroth, respectively. It follows from 5. The Pleiades Mazzaroth being the 7 sisters and thus 7 brothers associated with Astaroth. Thanks for listening. Select the next video for part 3. Comment and share.